Previously on the Savage Filmmaker. That is basically the top handle Pocket 6K Pro setup. So this is just a great temporary solution for those who do not have a cage for their 6K Pro. We can do it all with the top handle. It's still pretty maneuverable. It's still pretty flexible. It's going to give us all the options we need.
It's going to give us all the options we need, all the options we need, all the options we need.
Warning, the Savage Filmmaker is a beast. His camera rigs are to be used at your own personal risk, and he takes no responsibility for your camera exploding into a million pieces by attempting any of his 6K Pro builds. At the time of recording, there are currently no cages for the Blackmagic 6K Pro, and I've come up with a new and improved solution. I've already made a DIY rig build using a NATO rail and top handle to attach your SSD and microphones to the camera while we wait. Watch the video here or in the description. And with that, I thought my service to the Blackmagic community would be complete. Hailed as a king with many likes and subs bestowed upon me for my valiant deeds. But I was quick to find out that the internet is a cruel mistress. One minute you're laughing at memes and liking your attractive friends' bikini photos on Instagram. The next minute, haters are calling you out for reckless endangerment of a new camera body. Apparently, the 1/4-20 screw isn't meant to hold the weight of the camera and a lens, according to the instruction manual that I didn't read. So maybe my rig build was dangerous. Maybe I was dangerous. A maverick filmmaker, his reckless ideas putting the very community he loved at risk. Was I wrong? I needed a moment to think. I'm no stranger to criticism, but this was different. My rigging skills were being called into question. Should I retire from YouTubing and quietly diminish into the West? Or should I come back with an all-new powerful rig to smite my enemies and burn their villages to the ground, leaving nothing left of their complaints but blackened ash, smouldering on an indignant pile of garbage? I think you know what time it is. There has been some cage modding on YouTube already regarding the 6K Pro. But what if there was a cage you didn't have to mod? What if it was cheap because it was old? And what if it was available on eBay and SmallRig right now? Links in the description. Enter the SmallRig VersaFrame Cage 1750. I originally used this with a DSLR camera, but recently discovered that it can also be made to fit the 6K Pro. Simply remove half of the cage. Now, line up the top and bottom pieces, attach the bottom piece as you normally would, get the side rail in position, line up the top piece with one of the larger holes, and with a little bit of flex and a slightly longer 1/4-20 screw, you should be able to place this on. Note, this is where you could put your camera at risk of damage. This is not for the faint-hearted. Then, using the side rail, screw on a wooden handle fitting for additional comfort. SmallRig code 1747. Make sure the handle grip is screwed on tightly at the top and bottom, as this is what is now taking the weight off the camera, much like SmallRig's Canon C200 cage. The wooden hand grip, along with the Pocket's own grip, adds a very stable way to shoot handheld, and as an added bonus, it makes your biceps look huge in the process. We now place my top handle with our microphone and SSD using our NATO rail, which we can secure with 2 screws instead of 1, making it much more stable. And there's room for any extra peripherals you might like, such as a battery solution or changing the placement of the SSD holder. If you're really feeling froggy, you could try attaching a rail block to the bottom of the cage. Add 15mm rods for things like a matte box, focus wheel, and V-mount. Personally, I've started using the XSWX Powerbase V-mount battery underneath the camera rig and connecting it using a D-tap to waipu cable. It'll run the Pocket 6K for over 90 minutes of continuous recording, and then mounting a tripod plate underneath that. This also has the added bonus of balancing the rig and making it a bit less front heavy, so it's not always tipping forwards. It's the kind of DIY rig that if you showed it to the bullies at your school, they'd immediately stop picking on you and be your friend. Don't take my word for it. Let's give it the old black magic swing test. As we all know, there's a lot of swinging on set. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. If you really want a no-risk build that is tailored for the 6K Pro, you'll have to wait for them to manufacture it. Fitting a mount to something the mount wasn't designed for is a risk. The other problem with this setup is the top plate covers the EVF attachment if that's something you were planning to use. Luckily, I wasn't. The LCD screen is more than enough for most of my needs. Overall, I've found this to be an awesome, sturdy and cheap solution to use until cages are made available. Still very light, compact, and better balanced, with an additional point of contact for stable shooting that doesn't get in the way of your ports. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. I've got more reviews on the way, looking at the 6K Pro's battery life, video tests in and out of the studio, and a full review. Until next time, I am the Savage Filmmaker, and I'll catch you on the next one.